Imagine you are building a calculator. To add two numbers, you write 10 lines of code. Then you need subtraction, another 10 lines. Multiplication, another 10. Division, another 10. Soon your program becomes hundred of lines, long and difficult to read, difficult to debug, and even harder to maintain. So is there a smarter way to write code once and use it again and again? The answer is functions. In this episode, you will learn what functions are, why every professional programmer uses them, and how to create your own functions, pass data using parameters and arguments, understand return values, variable scope, and finally build cleaner, reusable, and modular C++ program. So let's get started. So functions in C++. So write once, use many times. So far, every program you have written has lived entirely inside main. So in this episode, you will learn how professional programmers organize code into reusable functions. So, learning roadmap. Why functions? Function basics, creating functions, passing data, and returning values, and building modular programs. So, why do we need functions? Imagine you need to calculate the total marks of 100 students. Without functions, you copy and paste the same code rapidly. Like this, int main, in total 1 is equal to English 1, Maths 1, Science 1. So float average of 1 is total 1 divided by 3. And similarly for student 1 as you have done, you do the same for 2. Like English 2, Maths 2, Science 2, total of second student divided by 3. And like student 3, English 3, Maths 3, Science 3, and total of the third student divided by 3. So you repeat the same 97 more times. Is this the way we should do? I mean, not at all. So, so problems with this approach is that we get repeated code, difficult to maintain, higher chances of mistakes, and hard to debug. So with functions, when you use float calculate average, you take English as int, maths as int, science as int, and total as English plus maths plus science, and return total by 3, which is average of them. And similarly in int main, for I is equal to 0, I less than 100, I plus plus, average becomes easier to calculate because average of I becomes calculate of average, which is the function here, and marks of English, marks of maths, marks of science. And that's how easy it is. So good programmers don't write more code, they write smarter code. So can we write a piece of code once and use it again whenever needed? Do let me know and answer this question in the comment section. So, function in everyday life. Example, TV remote. When you press the power button, you don't know what happens internally, you simply press a button, but TV turns on. An example to restaurant. A customer says waiter, calls for waiter, waiters go to the chicken and food returns. So you don't know that who built the food, but your interaction is with waiter and waiter's interaction is with kitchen. So like your interaction is with function and function will interact with all of your code. So connecting to programming. A main function is always important, without it no function will work. So main function which calls the function and that function executes and then the output of that function returns to the main functions. So a function works like a machine. You give it a task, it performs the task, and then returns control. Coming next, what is a function? What is a function? A function is a reusable block of code designed to perform a specific task. If an input is given, the function processes and gives the output. So what's the key characteristics of function? Simply, it performs one specific task. It can be used multiple times. It makes programs shorter and cleaner, and it improves readability. So instead of rewriting code, simply call the function whenever you need it. So advantage of using functions. First is code reusability. You write once and you can use it many times. Improved readability, which means programs become easier to understand. Third, easy maintenance. You update code in one place instead of many. Faster debugging, because finding error becomes much easier. And modular programming, large programs are divided into smaller manageable parts. And team collaboration, which means different programmers can work on different functions simultaneously. So functions transform large, complicated programs into organized, reusable and professional quality code. So, anatomy of a function. Its return type then specifies what the function sends back. If function body is this, the block of code, this is the complete function body, that the block of code that performs the task. Actually, this is the function body. One second, let me show you. This is in this part. In this curly bracket is function body. Function name, a unique name to identify and call it. In this case, this is the function name. And the parameters, like variables that receive input values, like int a, int b are here parameters. A return statement sends the final result back to the caller. Like here return a plus b will be given back to as result to the caller. So return type int, what the function sends back. Function name add, identifier to call it, and parameters int a, int b, input variables. Body code that runs, and return, like return a plus b, which result sends back. So every function is made up of these building blocks. Coming next is function declaration. Function declaration. Prototype. A function declaration tells the compiler about the function before it is used. Like int, add int and another int. Only the function signature is written. No function body is included. Like here you can see there is no function body, and helps the compiler recognize the function before its actual definition. So compiler reads the declaration and gets to know that the function exists, and then the program continues. So think of a function declaration as introducing a function before showing how it actually works. Coming next, function definition. The function definition contains the actual code that performs the required task, like int add, int a, int b, and return a plus b. Here the function name is add, parameters a and b, logic that is used here to return the value with the return keyword. Here input is processed and the result is returned. So the definition is where the real work happens. Coming next, function call. A function call tells the program to execute a specific function. So if int result is equal to add 1020 is given, then this thing goes to the function back. Like int main, a function is called, and then function executes, and then result the return, and it returns back to the int main, and then program continues. So the function runs only when it is called, and control returns to the next statement after execution. So creating a function is not enough, you must call it. Coming next, your first complete function program. Using hashtag include iostream using namespace std, a void greet function is made here. We have written welcome to ShivCore. Below int main, greet function is called and then return 0. So here the return type is void, which means function returns nothing. It simply counts, it doesn't returns the value. A greet where function name is given as greet, it is an identifier for this function. No parameters are given here, so no input needed. And function body starts, code block begins. Greet function is function call, which is executes the add function. And main is program starts here, entry point of execution. So this simple program demonstrates the complete life cycle of a function from creation to execution. Coming next, how does a function execute? So program starts, main, function is called, control jumps to function, function executes and returns back to main, and the program ends. So in the main, the code is here, greet function is called and it continues. And in greet function, void greet if hello is given. So execution always starts from main. A function executes only when it is called, and after finishing, control returns to the next line in main. A function temporarily takes control of a program and then returns it back. Let me show you the first function code in VS Code. So here I will say hashtag iostream hashtag include iostream using namespace standard int main. Here what I will do is that we will take the void greet function here in the code. So to take the void greet function, we will firstly work in int main work. So int main, inside int main we will be writing our code for the void greet function. If you can understand, we will write it in the void greet function for the function to execute, but it will be executed in int main. So simply what thing we will do in this is that we will call the function greet, and after below it we will just say return 0, because our main code is in function greet. Let me show you. Like you can say here int greet we have written, but let me take it as void because we are not taking in output. So simply we will say here cout welcome to ShivCore. And I guess after this we will also take end of line, and I guess our code is done. So when I run the code, you see here, when running the code, we simply get welcome to ShivCore here. So which simply means that inside int main greet function is called, and then the greet function gets executed and prints the work inside it. So commenting all of it and coming back to our presentation. Coming next is void functions. A void function performs a task but does not return any value. I just showed you void function. So void greet, and here we said welcome to ShivCore. So we perform a task, it returns nothing when uses keyword void and usually prints or perform an action. So void function are used to print something directly or to perform an action. So functions are called, task is performed and no value is returned is the flow of this void functions. So use void functions when you only want an action to happen. Coming next, functions that return values. A non-void function that performs a task and sends a value back to the caller. Int square int of n and returns n into n. A input is taken, the function get executed, calculation is done, and return value comes and caller receives the result. So here in this int function, we are actually returning a value of square. So the return type specifies what kind of value is returned. So the return statement immediately ends the function. So whenever you need a result back, you use a return function. Let me show you this in VS Code. Let me show you the code for square of a number. Here in the square function, we will take this and we will simply say return n into n. So running the code, enter the number to get it square. Let me write 7 and it doesn't execute because there is a reason behind it that why it doesn't execute. Once a second. So the thing is, for now we won't take a user input because user input requires another thing which I will be explaining you ahead. Instead, let me do one thing. Simply say 1 minute. If I do this and now I say cout result. I believe now our code is complete. So running the code, let me say 7, yes, and the output becomes 49. If I run the code again and I say 10, simply the answer is 100, which is the square of 100, 10. So we are correct. We can take it like this also, user input. It's a little difficult if you don't understand, but you will get to understand because you are watching ShivCore and none other useless playlists available online which are not worthy enough. Coming next, void function versus return functions. Void functions returns no value, uses void and performs an action and can print directly. Example void greet, no return value was required. And return function like return a value uses int, float, double, char, bool and performs a calculation and result can be stored or printed. Example int square, like I showed you, it returns a result. So choose a void function for action and choose the return function when a result is needed. Coming next, choosing the right function. Scenario, you have to display welcome. You can simply use void function. If the scenario is to calculate area of a rectangle, you have to use return function. If you have to print student details, you can use void function, but if you have to calculate total marks, you have to use return function. So decision flow chart, which is very important. If you need a value back and if the answer is yes, you use return function. If the answer is no, you use void function. So think of 3 more real life tasks and decide void or return function and tell them in the comment section. I will approve or disapprove regarding if you are correct or wrong. Coming next, parameters receiving the data. Parameters are variables that receive value when a function is called. Example void add. So highlighted parameters a and b are the parameters here. So exist parameters exist inside the function They receive values from the function code and they act like placeholders waiting for actual values. So parameters are like empty containers waiting to be filled. Similarly, arguments sending the data. Arguments are the actual values passed to a function during a function call. Like here 10 and 20 are arguments. So arguments provide the real data. They match the parameters in order. And different arguments produce different outputs without changing the function. So arguments are in the order of left to right always. So whatever you give the value from the left will be taken on the left side value. Like 10 is for A and 20 will be taken for B. So simply the orange ones are arguments and the green ones are parameters. So arguments provides the value and parameter receives the value. Simply. So parameter versus arguments. Parameters declared inside function definition while arguments are written inside function call. Parameters receive values, arguments supply values. Parameters behave like variables, but arguments can be constant or variables. Parameters are created during function execution, but argument exist before the function call. So int A, int B are parameters and 10, 20 are arguments. So arguments value are taken in parameters and then function executes. So arguments travel into parameters before the function begins execution. Coming next, complete example of parameters and arguments. So parameters and arguments. Here hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard and void add int A, int B, cout A plus B and int main add of 10 and 20 given in the int main. So let me show you this code in VS Code. Firstly, let's understand the function name is add, parameters are A and B, arguments are 10 and 20. Logic is to cout A of A plus B and the output should be 30. So visual execution flow is from int main arguments are given to parameters and then addition is done and then output is given. So one function can solve countless problems simply by changing the arguments. Coming to VS Code, return 0 is here. So while doing for arguments and parameters in the code, firstly let me show you in inside int main what we have to do. We have to just write add and any two values, let me say 10 and 20 only here, and above we will create a function void add which takes int A and int b as input, and inside this we will simply cout and after this I will say also end of line. So here our code is done. So when I run the code, simply it says sum equals to 30, which is totally correct as I have explained you. So yes, one second, clearing the terminal. Yes, commenting all of it. And now coming to our presentation, a mini challenge for all of you. So can you predict the output here? So example 1, void show int of x cout x, and here show and 5 is given in input. So giving you 20 seconds for this question. So I hope you have done it. The answer of this question is 5, because the 5 value here goes to value int x and x becomes 5, and then that value is printed by cout x with the value of 5 given to it. Coming to example number 2, you have again 30 seconds. Void print sum int a int b, and you here a plus b is given, and in this print sum these values are given. So your time starts now. Yes, so I hope you have done it. Tell me the answer in comment. Telling you the answer of this question, which is 10 here, because 7 and 3 are given to A and B, and A plus B here executes to 10. Coming to example 3, you have 30 seconds. Word display int age. So see out age equals to, and here 18 is given. So yes, the answer is 18 here. One second. Because cout age is equal to, and then age is given here, and inside age 18 value will be given. So coming to example 4, this is the code for you and giving you 30 seconds for this code. This is a little good question. So yes, this is void multiply int of x int of y, cout x into y, and in multiply 4 and 6 is given. So 4 is given to x and 6 is given to y, and then 4 into 6, which becomes 24, is the answer of this question. So I hope you have predicted the output of each example without turning the code, and understanding parameters and arguments is the key to writing flexible and reusable functions. Coming next, what happens when we modify a parameter? Suppose we pass a variable into a function. If we change the parameter inside the function, will the original variable also change? Like int a is equal to 10, and then we change the value of a, so the original variable goes to function and parameter modified. And what's next is a question for you. So think before moving to next slide. Coming to here, that call by value. So in call by value, the function receives a copy of original value, not the original variable itself. So a copy of the value is passed. The original variable remains unchanged, and changes inside the function affect only the copied value. You should note this in notes because it's very good thing and important thing to understand that only a copy of the original value is used, not original variable itself. So if a is equal to 10 and inside main, and then we change the value of a to 100, but it will still be 10 only, another value becomes 100. Let's say the x is a copy of it. You can see x is a copy of it. and x becomes 100 but a still remains the same and the function ends. So the function works on a duplicate, not on the original. So a program for call by value, a complete program. So hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard, void change int of x is equal to 100, cout inside function x and end of line. So inside int main, int a is equal to 10 and change a, cout inside main a and return 0. Let me show you this code. By changing the copy never changes the original variable, but let me show you this code in VS Code also. So coming to the code, here we were doing the question for call by value. Once again, yes. So I hope firstly I will do hashtag include IOStream using namespace standard return 0 below, and inside here for the int main part what we will take is we will say int a, and then we will take a change of a function name where the change is the name of the function here. Change is the name of function here. So we will simply say cout inside main and here the value of a, so that you get to understand what is the value of a inside main. And after this we will say void change and inside change we will take it as int x. We will say int x is equal to 100, so x becomes 100, and after we will say we will simply say 1 second, not a cout, and we will say cout inside function and after this value of x. So that our code is complete. So coming to the code, and when we run the code, Simply it says inside function is the value 100 and inside main is this because it's saying another value, and there is a simpler reason for it. Let me explain it to you. Firstly, let me say end of the line here. So the line gets ended. So the value of A remains the same. You understand it. Commenting all of this and coming to our presentation now. Next we have is local variables. A local variable is declared inside a function and can only be used within that function only. So in the main, a local variable is created and it is destroyed after the execution there. So key characteristic for it is that created when the function starts, accessible only inside that function, and automatically destroyed after the function finishes. Example word demo int x is equal to 5 here will be local to demo only. So every function has its own private variables. Similarly, we have global, we have local, then we have also global variable. So global variable is declared outside all functions and can be accessed by multiple functions within the program. So global can be used in int main, a function 1, function 2 and number of functions. So let's say int count is equal to 0 is declared not even in main part, not even in functions part, beside all of them. So it is declared outside every function, accessible throughout the program, and exits until the program ends. So use global variable carefully. They make sharing data easier, but can also make programs harder to maintain. So why you should create a function? Because how do programmer decide when to create a new function? When the same code is repeated, when one task can be separated from another, when the program becomes too long, or when the same logic is needed multiple times, or when code becomes difficult to read, or when multiple people work on the same project. So large program converts to smaller functions and becomes clean program. So one function should perform one specific task only. So from messy code to modular code. A one huge main input, lot of input calculations, conditions, output more calculations, everything mixed together, very difficult to read, hard to debug and not reusable. Whereas modular approach, where we have main, we have a function get input, we have function calculate, function display result, and function to end program also, which is easy to read, easy to maintain, and easy to reuse. So professional programmers divide large problems into smaller functions. Coming next, a mini project for you, simple calculator using functions. Here inside int main, user gets a choice to add, subtract, multiply or divide and display the result. Each mathematical operation is handled by its own function The main function simply coordinates the program. This is modular programming in action. So try to do this code here and pause the video, because now I am showing you this mini project in VS Code by solving it. Coming to VS Code, we will simply say hashtag include IOStream namespace standard. Int main I have written a return below and here return 0. One second. So we are doing for the question for calculator using functions. So we will come to int main afterwards. Firstly, I will say make the functions. Let me say int add, int a, int b, return a plus b, and that's it. Similarly, int subtract, int a, int b, and returns a minus b simply. Similarly, int multiply, int a, int b, return a into b. So one thing you have understand here, that we use int add, int subtract, int multiply, but for the divide we will not just use int divide, we will say float divide. Here int a, int b, and we will say return float value of a divided by b. So our functions are completed here. Next, once again. So coming next, inside int main, we will simply say int a, int b, simply here will be b only. Why take 2 times int here? Now we'll say user to enter 2 numbers. Coming next, we will say take a and b in input. Next, the only thing is that we will simply say cout addition is equal to and here we will call the function AB with the value of AB, and after that end of line. So cout addition equals to add the function and then end of line. So similarly we will do this for the three more functions. Here end of the line. Coming next, cout multiply here multiply a comma b, end of line cout divide equals to divide a comma b, and therefore end of the line. So our part of the code is completed here. So when I run the code here and it says enter two numbers, I will simply say 20 and 10. So addition of both is 30, subtraction is 10, multiplication of them is 20, and 20 by 10 is 2, which is correct. So all of the addition, subtraction, multiply, divide is done by function, and see how simpler the code becomes. It's just the function and nothing else. Coming back to our presentation, how a calculator program works here. The program starts, display menu is there, you uses the operation and corresponding functions are called. So functions perform calculation, results are returned and displayed output, and the program ends. So main controls the program and function performs the work. So some real world applications of functions. Like games, different functions control movements, scoring and sound. A banking software separate functions handle deposits and withdrawals and balance sheet checks. So web applications, different functions process login, registration and payments. And artificial intelligence function pre-processes data, train models and generate predictions. Operating systems like function manage memory, files and hardware communication, and mobile apps like functions handle user interactions, notification and background tasks. So every large software project is built using thousands, even millions of functions working together. So behind the scenes, what happens during a function call? When a program starts inside int main, a function is called. Here the control transfers to function executes, returns, statement execute, and control returns to main, and the program ends. So when the call stack greet is there, it's pushed on call by int main, which is always at bottom. So how the stack works? Main is placed on the stack. Function call pushes new frame. Function executes. Return pops the frame. And control returns to main. So when a function is called, the program temporarily pauses main and executes the function and then return exactly where it left off. Coming next, some common mistake beginners make, like forgetting to call even the function, or like using the wrong return type here, or a mistake can be missing the return statement, or mistake can be passing the wrong number of arguments, or a possible mistake is trying to access local variable outside the function, or the mistake is writing all code inside main instead of creating reusable function. So most function related errors happen because of small mistake in syntax or logic. So learn to read compiler errors carefully. Coming next, debug challenge for all of you. So here in this debug challenge, you have to find the mistake. So this is the code for you, and can you identify why this program will not execute the function? So pause the video and identify the mistake before moving ahead. Giving you 20 seconds for this. So the problem here is the greet. After greet, here should be open and close parentheses also. Without it, it is just nothing. The function should be called with parentheses even if the arguments are not passed in it. So, debug challenge solution. The incorrect thing is greet and the correct is greet with parentheses, as I explained you. With the greet without the parentheses, the function is not called. The compiler treats it as a function name instead of executing it. So creating a function is only half the job. Calling it correctly is equally important, not it. So function complete revision map. We have done functions, declaration, definition, function call, void function, return function, parameters, arguments, call by value, scope, and modular programming. So you now understand the complete life cycle of a function from creation to execution. So the strong fundamentals today makes advanced programming easier tomorrow. A rapid fire challenge for all of you. Can you answer these without running the code? So pause the video, answer all 5 before checking the solution. I will be giving you 20 seconds for each of the question and the answer will be told at the last. Question number 1. Question number 2 now. So yes, question number 3 now. Question number 4 now. Question number 5. Simply you understand here also print is gone and ShivCore will be printed in console. Coming, here is the answer of these 5 questions. If you score 5 by 5, excellent. 4 by 5, very good. 3 by 5, good. But if you are scoring less than 3, you have to revise today's lesson once again. So understanding is more important than memorizing syntax. Coming next, what you have mastered today. You have mastered why function exists, why function anatomy, function declaration, function definition, function call, void function, return functions, parameters, arguments, call by value, local, global variables, modular programming, and debugging common errors. So with this, episode 11 is completed. Great programmers write organized code, not just working code. Coming up next is not functions practice lab, it will be strings. So congratulations, you have taken another big step towards becoming a C++ programmer. We have done all of these. Programming is not about memorizing code. Once again. Yeah. So programming is not about remembering code, it's about learning how to think. So master the code, build the future. Thank you for learning with ShivCore. I will see you all in episode 12. And before going, I want to say one thing to you that that congratulations, you have just learned one of the most important concepts in programming. From now on, instead of writing the same code repeatedly, you will think like a professional developer, breaking large problems into smaller and reusable functions. Your homework is to build a simple calculator using 4 separate functions and try solving it on your own before looking at any solution. So that's where real learning happens. In the next episode, we will dive into strings where you will learn how computers store and manipulate text from taking user input to performing powerful string manipulation techniques used in real world applications. Until then, keep practicing, keep programming, keep experimenting. As we say, master the code, build the future, and signing off, ShivCore.